Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, race number 8 at Santa Anita on Saturday is the Grade 2 Triple Bend Stakes. We're going 7 furlongs on the main track. It's one of several graded stakes races on the card, so you're going to want to get involved with a DRF Bets account. Kind of a no-brainer when you deposit $100 and you get to bet with $250. Learn all of the details at bets.drf.com. Let's meet the sprinters for the Triple Bend. Why was this race downgraded? Didn't City of Light win it last year, Matt?
7/8. This is usually a very, very salty group, and like you say, it has a nice history. Look, I leave those decisions to the folks that make more money than I do, but I agree with you. A little bit peculiar that it was downgraded to a Grade 2.
Listen, you've been the king of the dirt sprinters from a handicapping perspective all winter and into the spring in Southern California. Case in point, the number 2 Sistron, who you correctly predicted was going to wire the field in the Grade 2 Kona Gold, and he ran the best race of his life when left alone on the lead. Do you see a similar situation occurring on Saturday, or do you think he gets a little bit more heat at a distance that's pushing it a bit?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all the above, where I think he's going to be able to make the front. The problem is I think he's going to be taking heat throughout and taking heat from better horses than he's been facing here, especially in that Kona Gold. It's just a situation where, I hate to say it like this. I feel like last time was probably the time, and you're going to be looking at a fraction of the 6-1. And you know what? I shouldn't say that. He's 7-2 on the morning line. He might still be in that 5-6-1 range with the other big names in here. Sistron, I think he's going to have a much, much more difficult time winning this time around.
Timeform US agrees with your assessment that A, Sistron will get the lead. B, he's going to face a little bit of pressure because American Anthem's hooves are forced somewhat by being drawn down towards the inside. This horse had some foot issues that cost him most of 2018. He returned on Kentucky Derby weekend. They ran him a 1-turn mile. I thought he fought hard every step of the way. It was a good runner-up effort. In this race, if I'm Mike Smith, I go.
I think you have to. Like you say, your hand's kind of forced down on the inside, and if he goes, that just plays into the pace situation where if you're on Sistron and you're Victor, you're really going to need to send, because that horse has not proven that he is capable of sitting off of a target and passing anyone and getting the job done. So I could see a situation where the 1 and the 2 are going a pretty honest clip early on. If you like horses coming from slightly off the pace, I think it should work out for you. Again, I don't know that I would ever want a deep closer at Santa Anita, especially at this sort of configuration. But if you are so inclined, maybe this is an opportunity.
He is 4 for 5 at 7 furlongs, 1 for 7 at all other distances. He's getting the trip he wants, and he's got Baffert in his corner. And with a formulator fact over the past 6 months, older dirt runners going second off the bench, almost 30% winners, and surprisingly enough, almost a $4 return on investment. Let's talk a little bit about the law-abiding citizen, the number 3, a horse that's been doing most of his work on turf, and good work at that. He just won the Grade 3 San Simeon last time out. I guess Mark Glatt looked at this race perhaps as the lesser of two evils. They maybe didn't want to shorten him all the way to 5 in the Daytona, so they're going to try him on dirt, which probably isn't his best service, but at least he has a win on it.
I was going to say, he's probably better on grass. He's at least shown that he can win on the main track. I think this distance is fine for him, but I don't know that he's necessarily of this caliber on dirt. I would have loved to have seen him in a race like the Jaipur. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Take a chance here in this spot. See what you can do.
Has not been on the dirt in over a year, but he was facing a fast horse the last time he was on the main track. Touching Rainbows was in form, a horse that came back to win with a 95 buyer. Law-abiding citizen, known as a turf horse. Majestic Eagle, certainly known as a turf horse, and a turf horse that probably likes to go even longer distances. He ran just fine in his first start with blinkers, going a 2-turn mile last time out at Santa Anita, but he's cutting back here. This is kind of an unfamiliar surface. He's raced twice on it early in his career as a 2-year-old. He didn't do very well. This is the horse that needs a pace meltdown, I think.
Yeah, I don't mind the turn back in distance. The running style could certainly be an issue, especially if you think the main track is on the speed-friendly side, as I do. The bigger concern for me is just he's an unknown on the dirt. I don't know if he's quite this good. I don't know if he's any good on the dirt, to be frank. But facing a field like this, you get a lot of obstacles thrown your way.
Let's talk about Airstrike, another horse cutting back in distance. We usually like horses turning back, going 7 furlongs. This horse was very, very wide in the Steve Sexton mile. He mid-moved into that race. That race seemed to fall apart a bit late. I think he's rock solid, and as a lightly raced 4-year-old, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a step forward. The question is, does he want to go a little bit longer? While we do like turnbacks, his best races have come around 2 turns.
Yeah, they've only allowed him to go one turn, I guess, if you want to include the Ellis Park race, which is 1.5 turns or whatever you want to say. I suppose it's 2 or 3 times, depending on how you look at it. I don't know. I think the jury's still out on what this horse really wants to do. I thought he got a little bit tired at the end of the Sexton Mile most recently when those top two horses kind of pulled away from him, or the top three, I should say. I kind of like this turn back. I think he's a little bit of an interesting case in here. I don't know if he's good enough to win. I certainly want to use him underneath, though.
All Out Blitz beat a couple of next out winners in a stakes race at Sunland Park 2 starts back, then chased Sistron all the way around the track in the Grade 2 Kona Gold. As is the situation with Sistron, the pace likely to be faster, and he's going to come from off of it. I wonder if new jockey Martin Garcia decides to revert to those tactics from 2 back. Gather him up, take him back, make one run.
I would like to see that. I'd like him to be off of the pace rather than be up there trying to prompt it. You're in a situation with the Kona Gold. He had to do it. He didn't really have much choice because nobody was going to go up there and stick with Sistron. It's a scenario now where there's going to be some company up there to keep him honest. Go back to those tactics that worked for you so well 2 starts back.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 2 Triple Bend Stakes. You like Baffert. You like the other Baffert. It's the number 5, Nero. This is a horse that began his career with a lot of hype. He's always had a lot of talent, and I wonder if he's starting to put it all together. He scored last time out real nicely in a 2-turn mile over El Huerfano, who came back to win with a 96 buyer when entered for the 62.5 tag. Good tactical speed. I think he sits a good trip in the second flight. He's a horse I'm definitely using in multiple race wagers.
I've always thought that he's very, very talented. I've liked him from day one. Now, the thing you need to know about Nero, if you're unfamiliar with him, he's very, very quirky. He's a horse that doesn't like to be hit with the stick. He'll shut it down. He doesn't want to go on if you get into him too badly. So the final margin of a length and a quarter in that most recent run, I don't think that's totally indicative of how easy that race was for him. On the far turn, he absolutely just cruised to the front. It was a situation where Drayden Van Dyke, he only hit him twice, and I think it's because he knew that this is a horse that's going to say, no more, we're not doing this. So I think he's better than it looks right now on paper. I think he sits off those 2 horses down on the inside that go. I think he's going to have every opportunity if good enough here, and he should be a decent enough price.
The Hardest Way, the number 7's my top choice in this race, making his second start for trainer Ron Ellis. They've always thought a lot of this well-bred son of Uncle Mo. I mean, heck, he's been favored in 7 of his 9 lifetime tries, but he's had a lot of physical issues that have compromised his career. He returned off a year-plus layoff last time out at Keeneland, and while he didn't beat a strong field, I love the way he did it. He showed good speed from the start. He was pressing the pace inside. He turned into the lane, switched leads professionally, and won drawing away. He draws a good outside post here. I think he has the ability to stalk. Yes, he's stepping up in class. I need more than the 3-1 though, Matt. Is that going to happen?
I think it's going to be close. I could see him being in that sort of 7-2 range. I could see him even being in the 5-2 range, depending on how many people watched the tape of that most recent run. Because from a numbers standpoint, he looks great. The 103 buyer highest last out in the field, the 128 time form rating. Visually, that was even better because I just thought he was visually awesome down on the inside. When the button was pushed, he kicked on and went for home. He was geared down in a 6-furlong race. You don't see that very often. I thought it was a really good effort. He's facing much tougher this time around and at 7/8. But boy, right now he looks like, to me, if you're not sold on the known commodities, why not go with this horse?
And I do like the fact that despite his history of physical problems, he has 5 uninterrupted workouts since that most recent start leading up to the Triple Bend. 7-5-2-1 for me. I'm using the 7 and the 5 in multis. Give me numbers.
5-1-7-6.
Fun race as always. The Grade 2 Triple Bend Stakes has a lot of history. It's race number 8 at Santa Anita on Saturday. Get involved with that DRF Bets account. Deposit 100, bet with 250. DRF Bets, ready, set, bet. Approximate post time for the Triple Bend, 4:33 Pacific. Good luck.